On this video, I would like to continue what I started, and that is a beginning New Testament Greek grammar. I have looked at the alphabet, and then we looked at the uh, masculine noun. We looked at the article ha, tu, to, tan, uh, hoi. Let me just go through it one more time here. Looked at the article ha, tu, to, tan, hoi, ton, tois, tus. Hey, taste, tay, tain, kai, tone, tais, tas. And ta, tu, to, ta with the tau and the alpha, uh, ta, tone, tois, ta. And we looked at the cases, the nominative as the subject, the word was preached, the genitive as the possessive, the word of God, the dative as an indirect object, he spoke the word to the man, and then the direct object, he gave the gift being the direct object of the verb to give. We looked at the numbers, singular and plural, and then we have masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns. Let me start, or I did start with logos, lagu, lago, logon, logoi, logon, logois, lagus. Looking at the word, to the of the word, to or for the word, and you could put the article before it. Ha, lagos, tu, lagu, to, lago, tan, lagon, hoi, lagoi, ton, lagon, tois, lagois, tus, lagus. Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and you have your singular and plural. Then we look at the feminine, and I'm using the feminine article he. He, tes, te, tain, hi, ton, tais, tas. So the endings will correspond to that. Let me use the word arche, beginning. Arche, arches, arche, arcane, archai, archon, archais, archas. That would be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and singular and plural. Then we go to the neuter he'aran, the temple. So it would be ta he'aran, tu he'aru, to he'aro, ta he'aran. That is the temple of the temple, to or for the temple. Ta he'ara with the alpha. The temples, ton he'aron of the temples. Tois he'arois, to or for the temples, and ta he'ara, the temples. Then we go to the third declension noun, which is an example would be caritas, caritas, cariti, carita, caritas, cariton, carisin, caritas. That is, you change in the genitive from u to itas, like caris, caritas, pneuma, pneumatas, spirit of the spirit, and so forth. So it's caris, caritas, cariti, carita, caritas, cariton, carisin, carita. And then, as we think further, we come to say a word about the different accents. Your acute accent goes like that. It occurs anywhere on the last three syllables. Your circumflex is like a half moon. It occurs on the last two syllables. Your grave is on only on the last syllable. It goes this way. Ultima is the last syllable. Penult is the next to the last, and anti-penult is the syllable before the penult, or the one would be the first syllable if you have antepenult, penult, and ultimate. We talk about verbs. You have present, future, past time, imperfect, aorist, perfect, and pluperfect. And those are the different tenses. Mood is looking at actual mood, like your indicative, or possible mood like a subjunctive. Then you have in your persons first, second, and third. I is first, second is you, third is he, she, or it. Then you have number, singular or plural. Then you have your active voice, which is the subject doing the acting, like I lose. You have the middle or reflexive voice, where it's like I myself lose, or I'm losing myself. Passive is where the subject is being acted upon. So middle is more reflexive. Passive is where the subject is acted upon. I am being lose. Let me go through the present indicative active of the present tense. Luo, lues, lue. Luamen, luate, luusi. Luo, I lose. Lues, you lose. Lue, he, sure, it loses. Luamen, we lose. Luate, ye lose, plural. Luusin, they lose. And then you go to your middle, present middle, uh, either middle or indicative middle or passive. Luamai, lue, luatai, luamatha, luasta, luantai. That would be I lose for myself, you lose for yourself, lue, luatai, he himself loses. Luamatha, we uh, ourselves lose, so we are being loose. It can be either or, middle or passive. Luasta, you yourself lose, or you are being loose, either way. Your future, you add a sigma between the stem and the ending. An example would be luso, luces, luce, lucimen, lucite, lusucine. That is, I will lose, you will lose, he, sure, it will lose. You're just putting the sigma, and it's still the same endings as your present tense. The imperfect indicative active is looking at continuous action in past time. So we'll do the singular and the plural of luo. Eluan, elues, elua, eluamen, eluate, eluan. That would be I was losing, you were losing, he was losing, um, we were losing, you plural were losing, or they were losing. Then we come to the imperfect indicative middle or passive. Eluamen, eluata, eluamatha, eluista, eluanta. That would be I myself was losing or I was being loose. He himself was losing or he was being loose. And then you go to your plural, eluamatha, eluista, eluanta. We ourselves were losing or we were being loose in the same way. You yourselves were losing or you were being loose. And they themselves were losing or they were being loose. So this looks at continuous action in past time. The aorist, you have your what is called your augment, your epsilon before the stem, and your sigma in the A vowel. It would be elusa, elusas, elusa, elusamin, elusate, elusan. I lose, you lose, he, she, or it lose, we lose, you lose, or they lose. The aorist indicative middle is elusame, eluso, elusata, elusamatha, elusasta, elusanta. I lose for myself, you lose for yourself, he, she, or it lose for himself, um, and that's your middle. And then your aorist indicative passive has your theta eta in it with the noun, or with the new, eluthane, eluthes, eluthe, eluthemen, eluthete, elutheson. I was loose, you were loose, he, she, or it was loose. We were loose, you were loose, or they were loose. Your future indicative passive would be a theta eta sigma, luthesomai, luthese, luthesatai, luthesamatha, luthesista, luthesantai. That would be I will be loose, you will be loose, he, she, or it will be loose, we will be loose, you will be loose, and they will be loose. The perfect looks at completed action in the past time with results continuing into the present. I have loose. It has a reduplication, leluka. You have lu, but you have le, the reduplicated lambda with your epsilon and your kappa. So the perfect indicative active would be leluka, lelukas, leluket. Leluka men, leluka te, leluka si. I have loosed, you have loosed, he, sheer, it has loosed, we have loosed, you have loosed, and they have loosed. Your perfect indicative middle in passive would be lelumai, lelusai, lelutai, lelumithai, lelustai, leluntai, which would be I myself have loosed or I have been loosed, all the way through your perfect indicative middle and passive. Then we have your pluperfect looks at action completed in the past time with results continuing up to a certain point in the past, but not into the present. Eleleucane would be an example. Epsilon reduplication, lu, and the epsilon iota nu ending. So it would be uh, eleleucane, eleleucase, eleleuce, eleleucanen, eleleucate, eleleucason. I had loosed, you had loosed, each year it had loosed, we had loosed, you had loosed, and they had loosed. So as we do a summary of the stems, luo is your present, looking at this lu and then your endings. Luso is your future with lu and your sigma between the present tense endings and the sigma after lu. Eluan, I was loosing, you have your epsilon, and then you have your eluan, eluas, elua, and so forth. Elusa, I loosed, is the aorist with augment and the sa suffix. Eluthane, I was loose, the aorist passive has the theta eta nu. So it would be eluthane, eluthes, eluthe, and so forth. The future, I will be loose, theta eta sigma. Lutesamai, lutese, lutesatai, lutesamata, lutesista, lutesantai, with the theta eta sigma. Your perfect active would be leluka, lelukas, leluke. That is, you have your reduplication in the le and the kappa. And then the pluperfect, eleleucane, eleleucase, and so forth. As we look at the summary of the kind of action, present is looking at continuous action in present time. Future is looking at futuristic action. Imperfect is looking at continuous action in the past. Aorist is looking at completed action in time, normally in the past. Leluka looks at completed action with results continuing into the present. That would be your perfect. And your pluperfect looks at completed action in the past with results continuing up to a certain time in the past. So luo, luso, eluan, elusa, eluthane, leluka, and lelucane would be different ways that you would look at your different tenses. Your imperative, your present active imperative would be lue, lueto, lueta, lueto son. That is, loose, let him loose, lue, lueto, lueta, loose for yourself, lueto son, let them loose. And then the middle would be luu, luesto, luesta, luesto son, loose for yourself, or be loose. Your that's your present imperative. And the aorist would be luci, lusasto, and so forth. Let me go to the infinitive. Luane is your present active infinitive, to lose, showing continuous action. Luistai is your present middle or passive infinitive, to lose for oneself or to be loose. Lusai is your aorist infinitive active, lusai. Lusastai is your aorist infinitive middle, to lose for oneself. Luthanai is your aorist infinitive passive, and you want to get it, Jen. And lelukenai is your perfect infinitive active to have loose. And then finally, the loose thigh is your perfect infinitive middle to loose for oneself. So I'm going to stop there. I'm just doing this sort of for my own fun and review, and I'll stop there, and we'll pick up with the participle next time. And you can find my grammar on the book Christological Greek Grammar, looking at the book of Ephesians. And this is found can be found on Google Books as well as on basically on some of my recordings. I think he's doing